And today's date is 3/29/21. And we're going to fill in proportional tables. Okay, so we're gonna fill in proportional tables. So we've been working with tables since last week. The only difference is this week the table's not filled out for us, and we got to fill it out. We got to determine the unit rate plus fill it out. What does that mean? Well, your tables are going to look like this. Same old, X and Y. All right. And then I'm going to give you the numbers 10, 60, 12, 4, and 5. All right, and that's all the information I'm going to give you. But I'm going to ask you, number 1, what is K equal to? Number 2, what is your equation? And number 3, I'm going to ask you to fill in the table. Okay? So I'm going to ask you what K equals, what's your equation, and then to fill in the missing numbers of your table. So there's a couple of different ways to determine what K is. The way that always works, which is what I'm going to show you right now because you can use it forever, is you're going to use your best friend, which is y over x. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, which is what I showed you last week, helps you determine your K. If it's an easy problem or if it's a hard problem, y over x will help you 100%. So this is like your best friend. You're going to use it, and it's going to really help you out. So this is the point that they have given you. This is the pair that's filled out. They give you the x, they give you the y. So this is what you're going to use to determine your unit rate, your constant of proportionality. So here it is. So we're going to use this form to plug in these numbers. So y is the number 60 over the number, what number is x? Well, it would be 10 in this problem. I'm not going to use this. I'm not going to use these two numbers because they're missing parts. I don't know what the combo is. So I'm going to use the one that they gave us, the pair, to figure out my constant of proportionality. So I have 60 divided by 10. Does anybody know what 60 divided by 10 is? What is 60 divided by 10? What is it?
6.
6. Good. So guess what? That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is your K, 6. All right, so now that I know it's 6, I know that my equation is y equals 6x. This problem, you can actually figure it out the easy way. Like, okay, how do I go from 10 to 60? Oh, I multiplied by 6. If I do 10 times 6, I get 60. So my constant of proportionality is 6. All right, let's use the same idea to do this part. 4 times 6 is what? What's 4 times 6?
24.
That's how we fill in that missing number. We do the same thing with the 5. 5 times
30.
6 is
30.
30. So we fill in our table. How do we fill in our table? They gave us 4, so we're going to multiply by
You forgot
6.
the first one for 12, too.
And then, but this one, you see how the number's at the bottom? The number's at the bottom. So you have to figure out, okay, what mystery number do I multiply 6 by to get to 12. So
Wait,
what's our missing?
Miss O'Malley, you could do 12 divided by 6.
Yes, but yes, you can. So what magical number times 6 gives me 12?
2.
2, thank you. So we fill in our table, all right? Fill in our table like so. A couple different ways you can do it. This is a pretty easy table. This one's easy, level 1. How did we start off? We took the pair that they gave us. We wrote it as y over x, and we got an answer of 6. That number, 6, is our constant of proportionality. It's our equation, and then that's the number we use to fill in the rest of the table. All right, let's try another level 1.
Miss O'Malley, do
Yes.
we always have to use a y over x, but even if we know what it is?
If you know what it is, like for this problem, you probably do know what it is. On the next problem, you're going to see the benefit of y over x. Y over x always works. Always works. Even if you know it in your head, you are still using y over x. The reason I'm pushing so hard on y over x is I bet you anything when you get this on a test, exit ticket, it's not going to be as easy as this. You're going to rely on that y over x. So that's why I'm pushing it so hard. All right, so this one, y over x. Here I am pushing it. So here is this combo right here. This is the combo I'm going to use to plug it in. So y is 10 and x is 5. And then you just do the math. 10 divided by 5, 10 divided by 5, and the answer is 2. So that means that k is equal to
2.
2. And your equation
Is y equals 2x.
Right? For most of us, the equations now are like super easy, right? Remember the first day I taught it to you, I just said, you know what? How did this happen? And it's pretty easy. Okay, now let's fill in the table. So since our k is 2, that just means that the top numbers, I get to multiply by 2. I get to multiply by 2 to get my bottom number. So 7 times 2 is 14. So I plug in 14 for my y. I'm going to go to the front over here now. 4 times 2, what is 4 times 2? 4 times 2 is 8. So we're going to fill in the bottom number with 8. Now here, it's a little different. What number times 2 is going to give me to 12? What number times 2 gives me 12?
6.
6. 6 times 2, 12. We're done. Okay? So far, so good? Okay. Level 2. Level 2. Start off with your table. Okay. All right. This is my table. I gave you 2 pairs. I was being nice. Gave you 2 pairs. So
We don't have to use, we don't have to do the y over x, right?
what is k equal to?
4.
No. It's not 4. And this is why we use y over x.
Oh.
Y over X. A lot of kids will look
1/4.
Yeah, a lot of kids will look at this and be like, 4, it's 4, Miss. I'm like, 4, 4, 4. Like, why?
To reverse it though.
Yeah, because 6 times 4 is 24. Cool, but ours go from X to Y. Always has to go from X to Y. Hence, I always put these arrows in there. But it's still 4. I'm like, no, it's not. Be careful. I know your brain wants to deal with 4. And for the most part, you can use that 4. If you understand it, you can use that 4. But when you're going to write it as what is K and your equation, it's not 4. So that's the thin line between like, okay, you're doing it right, but then all of a sudden, this is not 4. So this is where we go back and we use this. That's why I'm pushing it, because it will work. You pick a pair. Your Y is 6, so 6 goes on top. The X is 24, so the 24 goes on the bottom. This looks very different than the first 2 we did. Hence, it's a little more level 2. I can't divide this. I can't do this. I get a decimal, and we don't like decimals. We like fractions. So we're not going to do this. What we're going to do is what you guys did in elementary school, which is
Ashmat.
to simplify. So what can I divide 6 and 24 by? I can divide it by 6. So 6 divided by 6 is 1. 24 divided by 6 is 4. Oh, 1/4. Wonder what that means. I'm not really sure. I'm going to use my second pair here. Again, Y over X. So it would be 9 over 36. 9 over 36. I'm going to simplify by dividing by 9. 9 divided by 9 is 1. 36 divided by 9 is 4. Wait a minute. I again get this magical number of 1/4. Well, guess why? Because that is your constant of proportionality, 1/4. Your equation is 1/4 X. Okay? This is why we do this. This is why we do Y over X. Y over X. Because sometimes your constant of proportionality is a fraction. And I know your brain first reaction is to say 4, but in reality, it's not 4, it's 1/4. Well, is that a big difference? Yeah, it is. Here's how you can tell when it's a fraction. If you're ready to handle this, this is how you tell. If your X's are big and then they become small, so big to small, that's when you're going to have a fraction. When your X's are bigger than your Y's, that's when you're dealing with a fraction. Okay? When you're like, oh, we're going to be dividing by, that should trigger something in your brain going like, oh, my K's going to be a fraction. If I start saying divide, you're going to be doing fractions. All right, so let's do this. So use whatever math you want. What goes underneath the 12? What number goes underneath the 12? Does anybody know what number goes underneath the 12? Using whatever math you want to use.
There's 3.
Yes. What goes on top of the 8? What goes on top of the 8? Does anybody know what goes on top of the 8? It's tricky.
32.
Yeah. Very good, Jason. 32. All right. What goes on the bottom of 16? What goes on?
I think it's 4.
I think it's 4 too. Yep. So here it's like my honest suggestion is when you have a fraction, just use whatever math to fill it in with. Whatever math. What you really do, I mean, some of you are like, oh, I'm just dividing this number by 4. Then I would get that. Even though Miss Lamelli doesn't want me to think about dividing. And then some of you are like, oh, if I go from bottom to top, it would be times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 9 times 4 is 36. 6 times 4 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. When it's like a funky fraction, fill it in however like your common sense leads you. Let's do one more. That's level 2.
So, Mr. Mello, can you go up for a minute? Sorry, 1 minute.
That's all
Okay.
I have on this page. All right. So level 2. This is a level 2. Now, notice that the given pair, X is big and Y is small. So when you're going from a big number to a small number, red light flashing, warning, warning, you're dealing with the constant of proportionality of a fraction. Okay, that should give it away. You're dealing with a fraction. Okay, so we're gonna go K equals, and then your equation of Y equals something X, right? So your best friend is Y over X. Okay, well, the only pair that I gave you was this one. So that's the pair we're gonna use. And you have to make sure you write it Y over X. If you flip it around, you do get a wrong answer. You get the answer that you want, but it's not right. So my Y is 5, so it goes on top. My X is 25, so it goes on the bottom. I have 5 over 25, which does not equal 5. You're going to simplify this by dividing by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 25 divided by 5 is 5. So that means that my constant of proportionality is 1/5. Y equals 1/5 X. Y over 3 equals 5 over 25 divided by 5 divided by 5. You get 1/5. So I know your brain wants to tell you it's 5. I know your brain wants to tell you it's 5. But remember, you're going from 25 to 5. 25 to 5. What did I multiply 25 to get to 5? If you said 5, that means you told me 25 times 5 is 5, Miss O'Malley. You know that's not right. What you're really doing is you're multiplying by 1/5. But your brain doesn't compute that properly. Even mine doesn't. 1/5, what? But that's what you're really doing. All right. Now that we know that our constant is proportionally 1/5, however you want to figure this out, what goes on top of the is 7, what goes on the bottom of 40, and 10. All right, let's start with 7. What goes on top of 7?
35.
35. What goes on the bottom of 40?
8.
What goes on the bottom of 10?
50.
Oh!
No, 5.
Oh!
Nope. I don't know.
Take a second.
2.
2. I just think you went too fast. But yeah, I mean, you got the other ones right, which is good. Just go slow. Just go slow. Just double check your math. Yeah. Okay, so how do we feel about level 2? This is, I think, where period 2 went. Yeah. You're going to have a level 2 on the exit ticket. It's pretty easy, to fill in the table. To me, when I made it, I'm like, oh, they can just use common sense to fill in the table. It makes sense. The unit rate, though, I don't ask you for the unit rate. I just ask you to fill in the table for the exit ticket. All right.